The galaxy had a favorite pastime, watching monsters kill each other. On the arena world of Kraggon Prime, empires from every corner of space sent their deadliest creatures to battle. It was a spectacle of honor, fear, and pure, brutal entertainment. Millions tuned in for the gore, the chaos, and the thrill of seeing alien beasts tear each other limb from limb. Then, one day, the organizers decided to try something new, something funny. They dropped in a human. He had no armor, no team. No mercy was to be given. His name was Dax Vorn, a former Earth shock trooper captured during a border raid. For the alien overlords, this was meant to be a joke match, a quick and amusing death to warm up the crowd before the real fights began. When his image appeared on the massive holoscreens, the diverse alien audience erupted in laughter, a soft, fleshy biped against their champion. It was pathetic. The massive iron gates groaned open, echoing through the colossal stadium. A shadow fell over the arena floor, and from the darkness, the monster emerged. It was a gore titan, a towering bio-beast renowned for its savagery. It stood 12 feet tall, its body covered in a thick, chitinous hide that could deflect blaster fire. 6 razor-sharp, bladed limbs twitched with anticipation, and its gaping mouth was a horrifying vortex of rotating, grinding teeth. The crowd roared its approval. This would be over in seconds. In the center of the arena, Dax just stood there, watching the beast. He looked small, insignificant. The gore titan let out a deafening shriek that vibrated through the very stone of the stadium. Dax, seemingly unfazed, simply cracked his neck, the sound barely audible over the din. A small, dangerous smile touched his lips. "Let's dance," he muttered to himself. The beasts charged. The ground itself seemed to crack under its immense weight as it thundered across the sand. Its first strike was a blur of bladed fury, meant to slice the human in half. But Dax was already moving. He rolled under the sweeping attack, his motion fluid and economical. His eyes scanned the ground, and he spotted a broken, heavy chain left over from a previous battle. In a split second, he grabbed the thick metal links as the titan turned, bringing another limb around. Dax expertly whipped the chain, wrapping it securely around one of the creature's massive legs. The beast stumbled, surprised. That was all the opening Dax needed. He used the taut chain like a ladder, scrambling up the monster's leg with incredible speed and agility. He climbed onto its back, a flea on a mountain, and found his target. The creature's primary eye cluster, a group of shimmering, multifaceted orbs. From a sheath on his boot, he pulled a sharpened metal spike he'd salvaged earlier. With a guttural yell, he drove it deep into the central eye. The gore titan let out a piercing scream of pure agony, a sound unlike any the crowd had ever heard. And in that moment, the laughter stopped. Every single alien in the stadium fell silent, their amusement replaced by shock and disbelief. Enraged and blinded, the titan went berserk. It slammed its own body into the arena walls, trying to crush the human clinging to its back. The impacts were tremendous, shaking the foundations of the stadium. But Dax held on like a vice. He ripped a bony spike from the creature's own armored shoulder, its serrated edge making it a perfect makeshift blade. He began to hack and slash at the vulnerable flesh between the armored plates. Blood, both alien green and human red, sprayed across the sand, painting a grim tapestry of their struggle. The fight was no longer a joke. Ida was a duel. The crowd was mesmerized, watching the tiny human refuse to die, refuse to surrender. But the alien masters weren't about to let their main attraction be humiliated. A booming voice announced, "Activate Phase 2. Suddenly, the entire arena floor dropped away, revealing a gaping black void beneath. Gravity fields reversed with a sickening lurch. Dax and the wounded gore titan were thrown upwards, weightless, into a vast, spherical chamber. The walls of this new arena weren't stone, but shimmering plasma, a deadly barrier that would incinerate anything that touched it. They were in a zero-gravity kill sphere. This was the Titan's true element. Its body adapted instantly. Limbs unfolded, extra tendrils emerged, and it transformed from a ground-based brawler into a floating, spiked nightmare. A constellation of death. It was more mobile, more dangerous than ever. But as Dax floated amidst the debris of the old arena, his smile only grew wider. The aliens had made a fatal miscalculation. In ZOG, he wasn't just surviving. Washhom. This was the environment of a shock trooper. In zero gravity, he was faster. The battle reignited with a new, three-dimensional intensity. The Titan swiped with its bladed arms, but Dax was a phantom. He kicked off floating chunks of rock, bouncing between fragments like a pinball, using the physics of weightlessness to his advantage. He became a blur of motion, slicing, stabbing, and tearing at the beast with the bone spike he still clutched. He was no longer just defending, he was hunting. He dodged a fatal lunge and used the momentum to propel himself directly toward the creature's chest, where its biological core pulsed with a sickly light. With all his strength, he drove the bone spike deep into the energy core. A critical failure cascade began immediately. Alarms blurred. Dax kicked off the dying beast's carcass at the last possible second, launching himself away into the void. The Gore Titan convulsed, and then, in a silent, brilliant flash, it exploded. The blast wave painted the plasma walls with fiery, organic light. For a long moment, there was absolute silence. Dax floated alone in the center of the sphere, breathing hard, his body battered and bleeding, but unbroken. Then, a single sound. A clap. Then another. And another. Soon, the entire stadium erupted into a deafening roar of cheers and applause. The aliens, thousands of them, rose to their feet. They weren't laughing anymore. They were applauding the human. A powerful voice, amplified to fill the entire stadium, echoed through the space. "What is your name? Human?" Dax floated, slowly turning to face the direction of the voice. He wiped a smear of blood from his face with the back of his hand. "Dax," he said, his voice raw but steady, carrying across the arena. "And I'm not done." From that day forward, a new rule spread across the galaxy, whispered in fear and awe from one star system to another. Never, ever make a human the entertainment, because he just might become the main event. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.